Quick thing before we get started, the GATE Scholarship application is now open, and as of this recording, there are 49 days left. That is 7 weeks of procrastination until the deadline of September 15th. If you want to apply, just head over to www.thegatescholarship.org/scholarship. The link should also be in the description. But without further ado, let's get started. Heyo, I'm Brian, and I'm a recent recipient of the GATE Scholarship for the 4th cohort, and in this video I'm going to guide you through the application process for TGS using my experience. Side note, now before I move into an overview, I want to clarify what I meant by 4th cohort. So the scholarship started in 2018 and will run for 10 years including the first year, so 2027, and my class of 2021 is the 4th cohort. So yeah, just a minor detail. Now let's jump into the overview. So this scholarship is sort of a successor to the Bill and Melinda Gates Millennium Scholarship that ended in 2016, and there's often confusion between the Gates Millennium Scholarship and the Gates Scholarship, which I'll be doing in this video, so I'm going to compare and contrast them in this section. So both are targeted towards ethnic minorities, so this is African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Pacific Islander, American Indian, and they're also both last dollar scholarships. This means they don't really have a set amount, they're just there to fill in the gap and cover your cost of attendance. Side note, the GATE Scholarship calculates your cost of attendance by subtracting the predicted cost on your financial aid letter, then subtracting your gift aid, so scholarships and grants, then finally subtracting your expected family contribution, as it cannot cover this cost. You can only request additional funds for items or services included in your university's cost of attendance. And this is for up to 4 years at an accredited university, but the time slot is 5 years, just in case you want a gap year. While the Millennium Scholarship was awarded to 1,000 students and funded their undergrad and grad career, the GATE Scholarship only chooses 300 students and only funds their undergrad career. I'm not going to go into much more detail about the criteria and eligibility for this program because I think that the GATE Scholarship program released a great video on that, going into detail and showing illustrations. I'll leave a link to that somewhere in this video or in the description. But for now, I can go into the actual application process as it pertains to my experience. For this scholarship, you won't be sending much through the mail, so no snail mail. It's all done online through their own portal. And I found this convenient because all the new updates and changes or new forms, you can find them all in one place. The portal also sends emails when there's an update. However, you do need to check your spam. I had a problem where it was being sent to my spam or junk folder, whatever Gmail was misclassifying it as, and I just had to switch it and I was getting my updates. So this scholarship is set up in 3 stages. So there's the initial application, then semifinalists are chosen, then we go from finalists to winners, and I'm going to walk you through or talk you through each of these stages. Stage 1 is the initial application and serves as the easiest but most tedious stage. You're just entering in stats such as grades, GPA, the school you're at, guidance counselor information so they can fill out forms. It's just a whole bunch of filling out info things. And I've always assumed that this part of the application is automated, so all this info is being plugged into a program to determine whether you fit the criteria. You really want to make sure you're putting everything about you and also make sure it's all correct so that this program doesn't just kick you out from the initial application round. I know personally I did extracurricular activities such as Mo's Tech, and they have sort of like special slots for those, so make sure you're getting those in as well. Stage 2 introduces some essays. So these will be 4 400-word max essays, and they're not too difficult considering all the essays you'll probably be filling out for the entire college application process, but they're just here to gauge if you thought about your future. So what are your future goals? What are your future aspirations, whether they be an internship or some study abroad plans? How do you plan to contribute to the world? Kind of just your essence as a person, and if you can reflect on your past in a mature manner. Once again, don't lie in these essays. Make sure you are painting a true whole image of yourself, as these will come back in the future. Now for stage 3. So for me, this third stage can be summed up as one thing: the interview. They're going to call you, reach out to you, and set you up with someone to interview with. And for me personally, I enjoyed that this interview was with someone local as opposed to someone in another state across the nation. This way, it felt more comfortable, and I didn't feel the need to over-explain some things in some situations. For example, I'm from Mississippi, and I was going over the disparities in the educational system surrounding STEM. And because they had gone to a Mississippi school themselves and grown up there, they were able to relate, and it didn't feel like one-sided conversation. We were both able to contribute. In fact, we had been talking for about 15 minutes, and it wasn't until after those 15 minutes that we both realized, okay, we have to actually get started with the interview because they have set questions that they have to ask everyone. That being said, once we got into the actual interview and the interview questions, I'd realized they had read my application materials. They were making specific callbacks to details in my essays or activities I'd put in the initial forms, all the things I'd done over the summer, and just things that I was interested in. All of that was on the table. So you definitely want to be able to stand up for what you wrote and be passionate about what you're talking about. So if they ask you about your high school tennis experience that you said you did for 4 years and it took up 80% of your time, but all you can say when asked about it is that it was fun and alright, it's not really a good sign for your interviewer. Don't be afraid to go on long tangents in order to fully show how excited or passionate you are about what you're talking about. While you should try to be as organic as possible, do look over your application materials and make sure you are kind of familiar with all that you've presented as yourself. After the interview is the most dreadful part, the waiting. Now, this scholarship doesn't release its winners until April 20th. Don't ask me why, but if you're not familiar with the college application process, this is after every college decision. So you will know whether you got into your college or not, and you're just waiting for the Gates scholarship to see if you got in free or not, which I guess is worth the wait. Also, I couldn't even record my reaction to winning the Gates scholarship because it was just in the Gmail heading. So still, I was super excited and satisfied with the process as a whole. And I was already thinking about the Gates Summit, which is the summit required for all scholarship winners, and it's hosted the summer after you win the scholarship. It's usually hosted in person, but this year, because of COVID, it was hosted virtually. Still, we were able to get some cool merch, like the shirt and jacket and some other things. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my experience with the Gates Scholarship. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you have any questions, whether it be about the Gates Scholarship application process or the merge or the summit, just leave them down below. I'll be sure to include the link to the application portal down below so you can get your application started, and maybe I'll include some other resources as well. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see ya.